talk about it. It's Women's History Month, right? A time to celebrate the contributions of women, except, of course, when those women are Black and in media here in America. Because time and time again, when Black women start to gain a platform, start telling the truth too boldly, too unapologetically, the same things happen. And that's silence, erasure, and cancellation. MSNBC, I'm talking to you. Come on to the front. The most progressive network that has spent years profiting off of Black voices. You. They profited off of Black struggles and Black labor, only to discard them when it's no longer convenient. And they did it right in front of our faces. Let's start with Melissa Harris Perry, a political powerhouse, an academic, a Black woman who came on MSNBC with her own show from 2012 to 2016, and she actually used her platform to educate, to analyze the intersections of race, gender, and policy in ways mainstream media refused to do in that time. And what did they do? They silenced her. It was 2016. Donald Trump was dominating the news cycle with his racist dog whistles, his blatant bigotry, and his dangerous rhetoric. Yeah, this ain't nothing new. And instead of allowing Melissa to use her show, her own show, to unpack this moment, MSNBC started sidelining her. They pulled her off the air for weeks, preempting her segments for more and more Trump coverage. What they wanted was the spectacle, the chaos, not the thoughtful analysis from a Black woman who could actually break it all down. Melissa saw everything that was about to unfold, and she was not going to stay quiet. In an email to her staff, she called MSNBC out directly, saying, "I'm not a token, mammy, or little brown bobblehead. I'm not owned by Lack, Griffin, or MSNBC. I love our show, and I want it back." They were going to sideline her until she faded into the background. But she refused to play that game. And instead of letting them slowly erase her voice, she walked and she quit on her own terms. Because she knew exactly what was happening and what was to come. Then came 2020, the year where America suddenly cared about Black issues. The year of Black Lives Matter, of corporations slapping Black squares on Instagram. Y'all remember that? And networks scrambling to hire Black talent because suddenly Blackness was profitable. That's when Tiffany Cross got her show, The Cross Connection. It was born at a time when America needed to hear from Black voices, or at least that's what they pretended. In reality, they needed Black people as props. DEI wasn't about change. It was about optics. And Tiffany, she wasn't playing their game either. She wasn't just another Black face in a seat. She was real. She was raw. She was honest. And she held people accountable in ways that made folks feel uncomfortable. Guess what happened when the tide shifted? When corporations decided that DEI had served its purpose. When Black people were no longer trendy. You guessed it. Gone. Scrapped. In 2023, MSNBC quietly got rid of The Cross Connection. Despite the good ratings, despite the fact that the show was still growing, because Black voices were no longer a priority in 2023. It was back to business as usual, back to racism as usual. And now here we are, 2025. Trump is back and MSNBC just canceled The Reidout, a show that was birthed during the Black Lives Matter era of 2020, during the so-called racial reckoning. Joy Reid's show ran for almost 5 years. It was successful. It was a staple, and yet, in the same breath that MSNBC was celebrating her just a few days before for her NAACP Image Award, they were planning her exit. Nasty work. But it's not shocking, because at this point, DEI doesn't mean diversity, equity, and inclusion anymore. It means we saw it when Tiffany was cut. We saw it when newsroom diversity hires were quietly let go. And we're seeing it now with Joy Reid. And with Trump ramping up his attacks on media, we already know who's on the chopping block first. Black voices. And more specifically, Black women's voices. Because if there's one thing America hates, it's a Black woman telling the truth. But let me be clear, we ain't going back.
We're not going back. We're not going back.
We ain't going back. Black women in media have been the backbone of truth telling and the ones speaking when no one else will, the ones holding the line. They've been cut off, dismissed, erased, but never silenced. And they won't be this time either. MSNBC may have folded. These networks may be bowing at the feet of Elon Musk. Trump. But Black women, we will continue to speak, to build, to create our own spaces because our voices are not optional. They are necessary. And no amount of cancellations, no amount of corporate cowardice is going to change that. We are here, we are loud, and we aren't going anywhere. And shouts out to those beautiful Black women who contributed to MSNBC and helped build their platform. Melissa Harris Perry, Tiffany Cross, and Joy Reid. I celebrate you.